All right, so for my first interview, I used my girlfriend. It was very convenient for me because she also lives in the same house as me. So in the interview, I asked her what was her biggest stress, and she answered back by saying it was work. And after I asked her how she copes with it, she told me by spending time with me, laughing, and all that good stuff, and spending time out laying by the pool. So this tied in very well to the book by one of the strategies it explained about laughter and humor being strategy number 5, I think. Because honestly, like even though that laugh or that happiness that you might maintain in like the 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever, even though it might not take away that stress, it sort of reduces in a way of not always attacking you all the time and everything. So laughter and humor is a very, very important factor in being one of the strategies in reducing stress. So I also gave her new strategies such as lifestyle change and creating a memory bank. So I told her about the lifestyle change because her sleeping habits aren't really the best. Like sleeping at around 4 in the morning and then waking up for work at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I know she probably doesn't see it as a problem right now, and it probably never will be. But her recognizing that could help her reduce the stress that might come into her life sooner or later. So I told her that, and creating a memory bank because also told her to create a memory bank because instead of always like her thinking about the negative all the time, even though there's a lot of great positive things that is going on in her life, she always pertains to like focus on the negatives and what's wrong and not what's actually happening in her life and what she's accomplished and everything. And I think that's important because if she sits down and realizes what she's accomplished and everything, I feel like that side of her will sort of vanish away and she'll honestly be more optimistic. So yeah, that was my girlfriend. And my second interview was my little brother. So my little brother is currently in Austin, Texas. He's with my family. He's a junior in high school. I'm senior in high school. He's about to graduate, so he's kind of dealing with the little stress of trying to find a college and all this woo stuff everybody has dealt with. So, in asking what caused him to have the biggest stress in his life right now, he told me it was school and trying to find a college. And I asked him how does he deal with it, and he said it's by taking his time instead of always trying to feel like everything is crammed and you have to do this now. Even though it's kind of like there is deadlines for all this stuff to make it into college right after high school, he's already ahead of the class and everything, and like he knows like his time, and honestly he does time management well, but it's kind of like a mediocre time management. It's not like he's always on top of his stuff and always ahead. It's sort of like a I'm not too late, but I'm not too early, so I'm good right here. So he's very not stressed about that. So that's one way he helps out his stress for the finding in college and all that stuff. And which also kind of reminded me from chapter 10 about the personalities. It kind of sort of reminded me of personality B because he's kind of like sort of laid back, doesn't really stress him out, and not too much stress going on in his life. Like he's mellow, he's cool. That's it. Kind of reminded me from chapter 10. And also two new strategies I had gave my brother. I had taught him where meditation can improve time. Meditation can improve so much stress that you have, and I haven't even touched on meditation. I have never even done meditation ever, but like after this chapter, I've done so much like research on meditation and stuff, and honestly tried it out like 30 minutes before this video, and it honestly, I'm not gonna say like I lost all the stress, but it definitely was a big impact, and I wanted my brother to start using this tool earlier before me so he can get a hand of stress way better than I did. So I definitely did tell him about the meditation, and I also did tell him another strategy would be improved time management skills, because even though he doesn't stress himself out that he can't manage time, a lot of times it'll be better to manage his times correctly, so when he gets into college he's going to be on top of it instead of stressing out about it because he hasn't done it, because procrastination really doesn't hit you until you get to college and you're on your own. So I don't think like he's hit procrastination point. Yeah, I think he's like right at the stage before procrastination, which is still like an alarming thing. So I also definitely told him about managing his time, and yeah. So for my next interview, I have my father. Mind you, my father is a around 50, 55 years immigrant, came from Ethiopia, went to a scholarship out in Russia, then came to America like off a visa. Like it's literally like a hard way to get to America. It was like a lottery ticket to come to America. So he didn't even really have too much set out when he came to America, and then now him moving up to like even wealthier than middle class. Like I really acknowledge that. Like that's one of the things I really acknowledge from my father. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of him. So I asked him what his main stress was, and he said it was making sure me and my brothers go to college without us coming out of any loans. And I know that was his biggest stress because he's told me that every day of his life. Like, you're not going to pay a day in college. That's my job. I'm going to do that. I have never worked. And that's honestly one of the blessings that my dad has gave me and I really admire. And so I asked him, how do you cope with this stress that you have? And he's a very religious man. So he's told me he said praying and keeping God first always. Like that's always going to be his thing. I don't know how God can control this much stress that this man has, but God has definitely done it. Like he definitely has. Like I wish like I was that religious to have like a religion that strong to help me conquer stress, but he definitely has it. And I also like said, what else besides God? Because that's literally all he says. And he said, also by staying healthy so I can accomplish my mission. So that is very, very, and I thought of that going back to chapter 10. He correlated with strategies such as lifestyle change and also using religion as one of his uplifting strategies. Because in the lifestyle change, like he's always been on top of that. He's like since he has that mission that he wants to stay alive for that. So in order to stay alive to complete his goal, he knows that staying healthy and doing all that is going to help him get to that point. So it definitely related to chapter 10 very well. And one of the two new strategies I gave him was to have plenty of restful sleep, because he really doesn't think sleep is a big factor, but I've always told him like sleep is a humongous factor in any type of problem you can conduct in your life, like literally. And like he will work till 6 in the morning and wake up at 7 in the morning. Like it's so ridiculous. Like, but he'll do it. Like he doesn't feel tired or nothing. Like I've never seen him tired in one day in my life. But I definitely told him that you won't obviously see it, but you definitely can see it if once you start using sleep as a coping method to help with your stress and everything. And I told him about restful sleep. So that, and another strategy I also told him was the laughter and humor. Just spend more time with like his wife. My little brother's left, and like just like honestly, he's the most happiest man whenever he's with his family. It's just that he works so much that he can't be with his family. So I told him, start being with your family a little bit more. Not that he doesn't want to or nothing. It's just that he's so busy all the time. So like, and I know he stresses out a little bit. So like, definitely whenever he's with me, I can't ever see any stress because he's so happy, trying to show us everybody his happiness, trying to make everybody happy. So I told him another strategy is just like be around your family, have laughter, have humor with them. And all right, so in conclusion to the interviews, we'll start off with my girlfriend first. So in interviewing her, like I kind of determined her weaknesses and her like strengths, and one of her strengths were knowing how to deal with her stress, like knowing that like she'll like be so stressed one day, like, and she'll be like, let me just lay out the pool, and then right when she gets out of laying out of the pool, she'll just come back a new person. Like the stress just left her body after the sun rays just attacked her. I don't know, but that was one of her strengths. And one of her weaknesses I saw was just her like life habits, just the sleeping and just sleeping accordingly on time and everything. But other than that, I think the way she deals with stress is pretty perfect and very well related to the chapter, very well related to the chapters strategies. And for my father, I think he is probably one of the best people, not best people, but like best person that I've interviewed for stress, because he showed me that he has the strongest factor in his life that won't let him endure stress, and that's really good. And that's I really recognize that as strength, because like tying back into his religion, like he literally, like God takes his stress, like that's how he always pursues everything, and like God will take care of it, like, and he just doesn't let it sit on him. And that's one of the biggest strengths that he has for stress. And one of his weaknesses, I would say, is just spending more time into his happiness, into his actual self, instead of always others, his kids, his wife, his family. Instead of like focusing all the time to provide for them, start worrying about more of yourself and your happiness, and endure more of that into yourself than all this work and stuff. So that would be the stuff I would have for my father. Then going into my little brother, he's a working he's a working in progress. He I feel like everybody has dealt the stress of like going into school and college and trying to find the college and everything, but like I really, one thing that I do admire from him, and one of his strengths is that he knows he can do it. So it's not even like a pressure, like that he can't do it. It's like one of his strengths is like just knowing that he can do those things. So like that assignment that's due Saturday, oh, I can definitely do that on Thursday at this time. So I can say not the best time management, but definitely the best in knowing what to do and when to do it, if that makes sense. But definitely one of his weaknesses for sure is definitely gonna have to be just being on top more, like being more time management, being more like managing of his time, meaning, and like just instead of being on that side of, oh, you're in the middle of procrastination and on time, instead of just being in the middle, just be on time and just do everything on the ball, and I promise you everything of in his life will be perfect. Anything else I have to say is, yeah, these interviews went really great.